It's California Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are coming to you from Sacramento, California. We are joined by the Lieutenant Governor. His name is Gavin Newsom. Sir, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I want to speak with you about something you've been talking about since you've been in office,
Yeah.
and that is whether California operates in a business-friendly manner.
Yeah, not as business-friendly as we should be, but I do think there's a lot of hyperbole around this issue. And I know a thing or two about this. I have 15 small businesses myself. I've created over 1,000 jobs in the state of California, so I don't come at this lightly. I've been on the receiving end of California's largesse in terms of its education system, the infrastructure, research and development, open immigration policy, and regulatory environment, all benefited from those things. And I've been on the receiving end of some of the things that are a little bit more laborious, sometimes a little bit more costly and frustrating.
Talk about some of those. We know there was a lot of news coming out of Southern California, Torrance, with Toyota making a decision to move its headquarters to Plano, Texas.
Yeah.
But if you dig a little deeper into it,
Yeah.
it may not have been Torrance or Toyota fleeing California, but there were some reasons.
Yeah.
They wanted to be in Texas. Southern manufacturing close by.
Yeah, look, the world's changing. In the past, those companies came into California. You've seen a lot of historic context to this, particularly automobile manufacturers came to California because proximity, particularly from Japan, the flights were easy. You had the infrastructure down there in Long Beach and LA ports, so the transportation network existed. But that's a world that no longer exists. We're living in a hyper-connected, not a connected world, and as a consequence, they're moving their distribution centers all across the United States, getting closer to their customers. And so that was at least their argument in this case. That said, look, it's a big blow to the folks down there in Torrance and in LA County. It's a big blow to the reputation of California. Is it at the end of the day, in the aggregate, devastating? Not even within a margin of error. But it's something that we need to be cautious and thoughtful about.
See, what I'm wondering, though, is if we're creating this mythology that California is not the place to be for business, when in reality, there's a lot California has to offer. And Texas, is able to kind of be the bully when if you really look at Texas, they have some challenges. I mean, they don't have...
No question. But you know what? I got to give Governor Perry credit. And this is not an easy thing from coming from my tribe, right? Democratic Party tribe. But he's in the game. He's aggressive. He's making a case for his state. In my business, part of the job being CEO is getting out there, making a case, being aggressive against the competition, and focusing on your attributes and your assets. At the end of the day, they've done a good job. They've done a much better job in their exports policies. They've been much more aggressive in their trade strategies. They've been very aggressive, not just recruiting businesses, but also focusing on retention. That said, look, with all due respect to Rick Perry, his balance sheet is desperately wanting in contrast to the state of California. There's no balance sheet in America as robust and diverse as the state of California is. We have more researchers, more scientists, more engineers, more venture capital, better universities. So at the end of the day, here's the question. What defines our excellence? Are we going to be the cheapest place to do business, or can we truly be the best place to do business? And if we're going to maintain our status as the best place to do business, not the cheapest place per se, then we've got to focus on those growth engines that I spoke of. We had a formula for success in this state. In many ways, we have to go back and read our own history. We were the tentpole of the American economy in the 50s, 60s, and 70s in job creation. And we started to lose our way in the 80s, 90s, and in the last decade. We have to step up our game unquestionably. And we've got to focus on those areas where we're not as competitive and be honest about that, but also reignite those growth engines of human capital investment in particular.
What, though? Is it that we need to pull back on regulation, look at our taxing structure?
As a business person myself, with close to 1,000 people hired, I never had to deal with CEQA. And everyone seems to focus as if that's the only solution to an economic question or challenge. It's de minimis. As important as it is for certain industries, at the end of the day, CEQA is not the solution or reform to economic growth.
When we come back, I want to talk more about CEQA, talk about Tesla, one of our favorite car manufacturers. For our viewer on HLN, we thank you so much for joining us. For our other viewers, we'll be right back with Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom. So, sir, let's talk about Tesla, if I may.
Yeah.
I mean, Tesla is quite a story. The car is absolutely magnificent, very popular, and in fact, I learned that 1/3 of all Teslas sold globally, all in California.
Yeah.
So it's a California story.
Yeah, I mean, and their brand is our brand. Their brand is innovation. innovation is the #1 brand emanating out of California.
Right.
We have entrepreneurialism running through our veins, and they're certainly an example of that. So their success in many respects is defined by our success. We're truly a partner with Tesla, and as you maintain, we've been very generous, again, to the mythology of California. We stepped up in big ways on tax incentives, on training, and we've spent a great deal of taxpayer money on subsidizing the car purchases for people with a lot of money that may have bought it anyway that still got a rebate, including folks like me that are a beneficiary of that rebate as someone that is a Tesla owner. So we've got to we've got to maintain that investment, and we've got to double down to the extent we can in a competitive environment to make a case that California can continue to support that growth and not just limit that growth and see it spread to other states.
Here's the challenge, though. Tesla is looking to bring down the cost of its vehicle, and one way to do that is to improve on its battery pack. And so there's a discussion about where to put the battery manufacturing
Yeah, we're talking
facility.
about 6,500 jobs. We're competing right now with Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, and Texas. Those are the ones that they've identified publicly. We've been quietly trying to make a case for Tesla that if you want to follow the model of Toyota and move your facilities from California and Torrance to be closer to your manufacturing in Texas, well, why would you ever move from your manufacturing base here in Fremont, Northern California, and move to another state? So we're making that case. We're making the case that we've been aggressive in the past to streamline CEQA to the extent it is an inhibitor in terms of creating some certainty as a process to build a manufacturing plant in the framework and timeline they have in manner. And we also have demonstrated a commitment to support their workforce development and support other tax incentives that are available not just to them but other companies. Again, it's all about this. You read through, California does a lot for business. We just don't promote the heck what we do. It's amazing, these other states, every time you create 2 jobs and they have a parade going down Main Street. Here we have thousands of businesses coming in every year from other states, including Texas. You would never know about it. So we have to acknowledge our weaknesses, but also celebrate success.
But the challenge for Tesla and any company that wants to expand or grow in California, a few that we can't control. You as a lieutenant governor can't control land prices, wages. So that sets the field is almost unfair. I mean,
but we can control certain things. We can out-educate. We can create conditions. Look, the 21st century definition of leadership is no longer command and control. It's not selling down your vision. It's climate control. It's creating the right conditions where success becomes irresistible. And that's the spirit of California. We have this formula for success, and we need to recognize that, and we need to celebrate that, but we also need to reinvest in that. That's why I'm very concerned about the cuts to higher education. I'm very concerned about the pedagogy of learning in our higher education system, for that matter, the K through 12 education system. I'm concerned about the infrastructure in the state, the lack of robust research and development. I'm concerned about our stale immigration debate. I'm concerned about a regulatory environment that needs to be more flexible.
And let's talk about regulation, because if you look at surveys, I think it's fair to say that you can mince words on taxes, but it appears that taxing, we're generally in the middle in terms of business taxation.
Yes.
On regulation, it's very hard to deny that we are a highly regulated state.
Yeah.
And so what can we do? I mean, Governor Brown says he wants to reform regulation. The Democrats...
Flexibility, redundancy, time to decision making. There's so many things you can do without weakening regulations just to be more friendly to those you're regulating. When we do this, when we flip the pyramid. Here's my whole thing. I come from local government. I have a bottom-up mentality, not a top-down. I did an economic development plan for the state called Regions Rising Together. The pyramid needs to be inverted. An economic vision for California needs to be realized at the local level. And it's local government, local regional government that can begin to streamline their operations, link in with the state of California and the federal government. So it's a bottom-up, not top-down strategy. And that's how regulatory reform, from my humble perspective, needs to advance. We get caught up in CEQA debates here. We never get very far. And at the end of the day, it won't even allow us to get far, even if we passed it. There's so many other things from a regulatory framework that are more frustrating to a business owner. The planning department, the ADA regulations where one inspector says it's this and the next inspector comes 2 weeks later and says it's that. The time to decision making, 2-3 months, something sitting on someone's damn desk. The opaque nature of the process. It's not open, it's not transparent, it's not collaborative. There's basic operating principles that we can advance to substantially improve.
His name is Gavin Newsom. He is the Lieutenant Governor for the great state of California. My name is Brad Pomerance, coming to you from Sacramento on California.